In operating system, we discussed about what is an operating system. Operating system interacts with your hardware and provide an interface to user. Okay, so if you want to run in any applications, okay, you want to run in any application, you want to give some instruction, you want to do certain task, so we do on the operating system only. So your operating system kernel part interacts with your hardware and shall provide a user interface. Different type of user interfaces are there. So command line user interface, graphical user interface, okay? And the kernel will manage your hardware, which can understand how to work with your hardware components like a CPU, RAM, like a memory management, disk management, network related. Okay, it will understand by kernel only. So in operating system, we discussed about a SOS and NOS, simple operating system and network operating system. Simple operating system is this is generally example is desktop type of operating system like our Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows 7, Windows XP. These are all simple operating systems. Network operating systems are a server-based operating system, Windows servers, 2016, 2019, 2022, Windows servers operating system, server operating system. Windows server is different, guys. Server is different. Okay. Server 2019. It can be Windows server or SQL server. Okay. Understand? It can be a SQL server or Windows server. That will confuse you. That's why Windows Server means our regular Windows 10, how it is. Windows 10 is a regular operating system. Like a Windows Server means it is a operating system. SQL Server means it's application. SQL Server is application. Windows Server is operating system. Okay. So Windows Server operating system, Linux operating systems, Unix operating system, and different type of server-based operating systems also there. And in a another type of operating systems are single user, single task, single user, multitask, multi-user, multitask based operating system. Single user, single task means only one user, one task at a time. We can do it. That is called a DOS operating system example. And single user multitask, our Windows operating system, both Windows desktop and Windows server operating system, single user, single task means only one user at a time can log in, but can able to do multiple tasks. Multi-user multitask means multiple users can able to log in to a single PC either direct physically or maybe through network. So we can multiple users can able to log in and they can do multiple tasks, foreground, background tasks we can able. And also we discuss about what is a real-time operating system. Depends on certain task. Example IoT is one of the example for a real time. Of course, but in IoT also we are using pre-designed operating systems. But sometimes like you can design your own operating system based on your hardware to do a particular task, which is much faster than a traditional operating systems. Why? Because of your programming for only for a particular task only, not for any general task. Like my PC, I can able to run a video player or a web browser, or I can do certain other, I can run some mail communication and all we can able to do it, right? But in a real-time operating system, only dedicated task only these tasks, okay? That kind of stuff. Mobile operating systems are we have using for a mobile purposes, tablet purposes. Okay, nowadays you have a TV operating systems also there. Like a most common operating system in these devices are a Android, iOS, Symbian, Tizen, BlackBerry, Windows, Google one, so Android one, different operating systems also came. Okay. So in it, what is a desktop operating? Simple operating system, I said a desktop operating system. What is the difference between desktop operating system and server operating system? As desktop operating system is we can run an application, mainly desktop based operating systems. We use it to run applications, web browsing, playing games, audio, video, kind of stuff. Okay, multimedia, data processing, and desktop operating system also a client for a server. Okay, also called a desktop operating system, also called as a workstations, client PCs, end user devices. Desktop desktop PCs, also we can call it as a workstations. Like I have a laptop, this is also called as a workstation. Okay, and see, for example, this computer role is a workstation. Computer role is workstation. If in case, if I install a server operating system in this PC, it shows it is a server. Okay. And of course, not only a server, in some place it shows a primary backup kind of stuff. Depends upon what type of server it is. That is we'll discuss later. Okay, that is not now. Okay, so desktop operating systems, desktop PCs, also called as workstations, client PCs, end user devices. Okay, that is our desktop operating. What is a desktop operating system or a desktop PCs? For regular usage purpose and client purpose. Server operating system, server operating system by installing the certain features or roles in the server operating system, or by installing certain packages inside a server, or by installing certain applications in the server, then server start providing services. What is a server? Server provide a service. How it can able to provide a service? In server operating systems like a Windows servers, Linux, Unix servers, okay, by installing their built-in features or built-in roles, or by installing certain packages, or by installing certain applications, it can able to provide a certain service. What are the services? Like a DHCP service, DNS service, VPN service, web services, application servers, file services like a file servers, mail servers. So if you install a Exchange, Microsoft Exchange, then it is a mail server. If you install a Zimbra application, then it is a mail server. If you install a Squirrel mail application, then it is a mail server. Okay. So database servers, deployment servers, remote desktop servers, authentication servers, proxy servers, different type of servers. For example, database servers. If I install a Oracle database application in a server, it become database server. If I install a Microsoft MS SQL server, Microsoft SQL server, database server. If I install MySQL, the database. Okay. Windows and Linux differences. We have already seen this Windows and Linux differences. One or two points are missing, but maximum I added here, guys. Windows and Linux differences. Windows operating system is not a open source because the source code of Windows operating system is not open. We cannot alter, we can't access, we can't alter the open source, the source code of the operating system in a Windows. Linux, it is not like that. You can directly download the source code of Linux kernel and you can change according to your requirement. You can develop as per your requirement and you can distribute that operating system as per your requirement. Guys, anything, even an application or operating system called as open source, it meaning is the source code of that application or operating system is available. Available. It does not mean free. Okay, it does not mean free. It is available. Any person can able to take it, develop, and they can able to distribute or they can able to sell it also. Windows operating system is a proprietary of Microsoft and Linux is not having any proprietary and it is developed by Linux is developed by Linus Torvald. Of course, Microsoft is developed by developers. First, Microsoft is developed by Bill Gates only. Bill Gates and another person, two people are there. Okay. Co-founder, you have to find out who is the co-founder. Is the second developer. Do not go to the social media kind of stuff, guys. In the social media, Bill Gates is a school dropout. Okay, Bill Gates is a brilliant student, the university topper. Okay, uh, Bill Gates is a very poor person. His parents from the farmer's family. Maybe right, but not poor family. Not from the poor. The Bill Gates, both parents are lawyers, attorney generals, advocates. That names are there in America. Different names are there. Generally, there are government lawyers. That is called advocates or attorney generals. Actually, that is attorney generals. There are a very higher position. There is a second richest people in America. Bill Gates' parents. He got a computer at his age is of very small age only. In school age only, he got a computer. That's the first computers only. The Bill Gates. And of course, he's still having a large farming lands. He's a holder of large farming lands in America. GI based, CLI based. Okay, so Windows is a GI based operating system. CLI is a less CLI. Sorry, Windows operating system is a more GUI based, and Windows operating system is a Microsoft only distributed operating system. So Microsoft is distributing this Windows operating system. So basically GUI based operating system. So less we think about a CLI. Not a case sensitive. You have to use, if you want to use a Windows operating system, you have to pay for licenses. Okay. Windows desktops, Windows Server operating systems, both are released separately from the Windows servers. It is more user friendly. Admin, there is an administrator for a there is administrator account, and array administrator is also there. It is a single user multitasking based operating system, and Windows operating system generally it is a GUI based. It required more hardware footprint. More hardware footprint means required more RAM capacity, processing capacity, disk capacities. Requirement is more as compared to Linux. Linux is open source, guys. Anybody can download a Linux kernel and they can develop they can develop and they can distribute it. It is not having any proprietary of anyone. It is developed by Linus Torvald. Basically, Linux kernel is developed by Linus Torvald. Okay, and the person name is Linus Torvald. Okay, so it's a powerful CLI and less about a GUI mode. The more CLI based operating systems. Different distributions are there. So that is Ubuntu, CentOS, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Debian, Fedora, Asian Linux, SUSE, OpenSUSE. There are a lot of distributions are there. It is a case sensitive. It is a free license. Most of the Linux operating system is freely. Okay, it's a freely available. Virus free. Basically, Windows based viruses don't work in Linux because Windows way of executing a file is different from the Linux way of executing file is different. Server operating systems, it's mainly Linux and Unix are a server based operating system. Only few versions are a desktop based is there. Even that is also work like a server if you are installed some few, like a Ubuntu desktop is there, Ubuntu server is there, Linux Mint, this kind of stuff. And it is not much user friendly, means it is a command line interface. Compulsory user has to be learn how to give the commands. Okay, like that. So even last time, me and Sai's processor is there. So both are we start discussing about Linux installation and installation of Docker in the Linux every time. Okay, last time one of your guys told about this hardware footprint related, right? So hardware consuming. Yeah, that is also is there. I take a Windows one Windows 10 machine and I installed a Docker inside, and the system become very slow. When I take a one Linux machine, I install a Docker inside. System runs normally, so no problem with the system. Okay, so even very less RAM also Linux system is running better. What is the difference is the consumption of resources very high in the Windows because of there's a lot of background tasks and GUI interfaces and all kind of stuff. In Linux is not like that. But in a Windows, you want to install a Docker, simply download a Docker, next, click, next, finish. It is installed. And you can see the control like a start, stop, we can able to. In Linux, it's not like that. You have to search how to install a Docker in the Linux, means that application in the Linux machine. And you have to copy all those commands, you have to paste it, and you have to run background service start, stop kind of stuff. Okay, everything you have to know how to use it. One or two commands or multiple commands you require to know to work with the Linux system. Means it's need a trained professional is required. Luckily, SAR is already know the Linux. He may not take the classes of Linux, but he is working with the Linux operating system. So then he knows so that easily he can able to get the commands. Okay. So point is guys, so Linux is required the knowing of the commands, how to put a commands, how to interact with the system and that. Root user, there is a user in the Linux machine called a root, is an administrator of Linux machine. In a Windows server, we have a Windows server, there is a one account called a administrator account. Even both Windows server and Windows desktop, we have a administrator account is a administrator of PC. But in Windows machines, you can create any account and make them as a admin. Like I have a Windows 10 machine, I have a user account. My first account is itself is a administrator. Is a administrator of my PC. Directly, first user is a administrator of multi-user multitasking in Linux, less hardware footprint. In a Linux, GUI based Linux is there, and only CLI based, that is called a minimal Linux is also there. Okay, so I like a minimal means there is no GUI part. Minimal will take very less space, disk space and all. So that is what we discussed in our operating system. Just it is like a revision guys, and as well as 2 3 points are very important. First one is what is an operating system? What is the use of operating system? Okay, what is the operating system? What is the use of operating system? And next one is types of these operating systems and different type of operating system comes like a Windows, Linux, Windows 10, Windows 11, or a Windows Server operating system. Different type of operating systems you can tell. And Windows and Linux differences. So this part again we covered, guys. Compulsory read it. Next to extension is we go to the server side because we discussed about a what is the server, different type of servers it is. But here it is, we'll discuss what is peer-to-peer, server and client, workgroup and domain, and Active Directory as a first shot. Okay. So that why I told because of this for this connection and as well as operating system basic questions also important. And compulsory guys, operating system based troubleshooting questions also, please check it. You have to study guys, always we can't feed everything. Guys, up to now, okay?
Yes, sir.
So here it is. We start with the servers and services. First of all, I put this heading. It is I made up this heading part. Okay, but point is, what is peer to peer? What is peer-to-peer? Peer-to-peer is a simple a one PC to another PC, like a P2P or peer-to-peer. It's a computing or a networking is distributed application architecture that partitioning task or a workload between peers. Okay, so there is a lot of peer-peer kind of stuff. This is the point. Here it is, not written here. So what is the point he mentioned here? Look at here. Relating to using being network by computer operated by individual can share information and resources. Individual PCs sharing information or resources directly without rely on the dedicated central server. Means in a peer-to-peer, it is a kind of work group model. So I will tell what is work group model also. So here is two PCs or multiple PCs. Okay. So mainly peer-to-peer means it's a kind of point-to-point type only. There are connected in the network. Guys, already I told this represent a network. It does not represent. Of course, it is a bus topology, but does not. We are following a bus topology. We always follow star topology only. We always follow star topology, but this represent network. That, okay. For example, guys, this is a PCA. PCA contains some data. Yesterday we discussed, right? PCA contains a data, and PCB required to access this data. I want to access this data. This is having a data. This is required to access data. Okay, this is want to access the data, right? So meaning is PC has to share the data, PCB has to access the data. Okay, access the data. In this particular instant, it is like it is sharing a data, it is accessing the data. So this is called a peer-to-peer. For example, I have a connected to a printer. Okay, connected to a printer. There is a printer connected to this VPC. CPC is connected to the printer. This is the printer. Now, I shared a printer from here and VPC want to access the printer. How to do? You have to share the printer from CPC and access the printer from VPC. Right? So, did I use any a special server here to access the data or to access the printer?
No.
No, we didn't use any centralized servers kind of stuff. We are not used. So this model, we call it as a peer-to-peer model. Okay, peer-to-peer model. So here it is also given what is peer-to-peer model. Okay. Also, you can go to some examples. But once you read, don't go with the blindly, guys. Compulsory check whether it is satisfying that sentence or not. I'm giving that information, but next one is server and client model. What is server and client model? Server provides a service, client access the service. Always remember, server provides a service, client access the service. So, for example, it is a web server. It is a web server. I want to access the web pages. So, this is always a web server, not in this instant. not is a temporarily a print server, temporarily a shared folder server. It is not like that. It is a dedicated server. It is a central. So if this PC want to access a website, so they'll contact this server. BPC want a website, they'll contact a server. CPC want to access a website, then they will go to request go to website. Means one server give web services to multiple clients. Okay. So it is a dedicated one single server. Similarly, like a print server. Last class we discussed network printer. Okay, in that one there is a print server. It is a centralized server. Okay. In server and client model, there is a server and dedicate there is a clients. Server provide a service, client access the service. Server provide a service, client access the service. That is a normal word. The original sentence is always I want to say this is client request. Guys, we have a server and we are getting service from the server. Actually, no. Actually, no. We are requesting for a service to the server. We are requesting service to the server. Server respond to the client. Send a response to the client or a server response to the client. So in this one, so there is a APC. APC want to ask like I want a web page. It send a, a request. Send a request called a HTTP request. It send a HTTP request and server understand is asking web related request. So we are sending HTTP request. Server understand, web server understand is a HTTP request. So it will respond according to that one. So it send a page as a HTTP response. HTTP response. So in web we are using HTTP request. This is a PCA and this is a server one. And server send to a PCA is response. Of course, HTTP response. So it's I said about a web related or anything. First client has to send a request. Client send a request. Servers give response. Server give response. So server understand the request and give response. Of course, your request and server should be matches, guys. You send a FTP request. Server is a HTTP web server. Not matches, it drop the packet. We can't get any response from it. Okay, can't get any response from it. So protocol should be matches. That is also we'll discuss. Server and client. So in a server and client, there is a centralized server. In server and client model, there is a centralized server. The client requests for a service to the server and server responds, send a response to the client. Okay, guys, understand up to here? Server client. So we told about server. Different type of servers already we discussed, but protocol and servers. Okay, so read it. So web server, HTTP, HTTPS protocol. Okay, first of all, guys, something is there, like a device is there, or a server means a machine, a computer with a server operating system inside. So when we call it, when we call it is a particular server, is a web server, file server, a DHCP server. Like as I said, your router, your Wi-Fi router act like a DHCP server. It means what is your DHCP server? Your router in your home. Your home, your Wi-Fi router is DHCP server. Who is your DNS server? Your Wi-Fi router is your DNS server. How a router become a DNS server? How we can able to call them? How we can able to call them based on what service it is providing. Okay, what service a server is providing. I will remove this thing and I will tell guys. You call something as a server based on what? Based on what service it is providing. Is it providing DHCP service or a DNS service or a web service or a Active Directory service or mail service or VPN service or a virtualization service or storage or database? Okay. So based on what service it is providing, we call that server as a that particular server. And how a server can able to provide a service, how client can able to request for a service based on the protocols. HTTP, HTTPS protocols, FTP for FTP servers, DHCP for DHCP server, DNS protocol for DNS. Active Directory is a authentication protocol called Kerberos. Okay, WDS that is bootp. Actually, WDS use bootp. Mail servers use SMTP pop map protocols. Okay, so storage servers NFS, CAFS, iSCSI, that kind of protocols. Okay, so like this, guys, and a machine or a device or a computer giving a service through network, how it can able to give by installing a feature of inside that machine by built-in feature or built-in role, by installing a package, by installing an application. For example, I installed Apache HTTPD. It is a web server. Or I install Microsoft IIS role in Microsoft server, then it is a web server. Or I download an application called a Tomcat, then it is a web server. I install a Glassfish application, it is a application server and web server. Tomcat also make your server as a web server come application server. And application, dedicated application servers are there, like EJB servers are there, that is different. That is required middleware kind of stuff, web logic servers kind of stuff. Of course, you install a package or a role like a FTP or SFTP, vsftp kind of packages, it's become file server. You install a package or a role like a DHCP, then it is a DHCP server. You install DNS or a named package, then it is a DNS server. Install a Kerberos, sorry, you install a Active Directory domain services, then it is become domain controller. Okay, so you install an application like a Microsoft Exchange or Zimbra, then it is become a mail server. You take a hardware, means that a computer, and in that one you install directly Microsoft Hyper-V server or VMware vSphere or Citrix Zen server, or you install a Proximox V or Red Hat Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization. If you install these direct operating system kind of stuff, it is in the direct hardware, it become virtualization server or a server virtualizations. Okay, by installing and configuring NFS or a CAFS or SAN kind of stuff or a iSCSI kind of stuff, it is become storage server. Install a application like a Oracle database or applications or a Microsoft SQL server, MySQL, MariaDB. Okay, that kind of application you install, it is become database server. Okay, guys. there is a server means a specific server. How it is become a server? Based on what kind, by installing some application or a package or built-in feature or a built-in role. By installing it and configuring it, so it is become a dedicated particular server based on a service. And other type of servers are there. So one is like a just we are calling it as a server, but whether it is what service it is providing, that is secondary. We calling something as a server by installing an operating system also. Okay, I install a Windows Server operating system. I install a Windows Server 2019. It is a server. I install Windows Server 2019. So obviously it is a server. What service it is providing, that is depends upon what service you are installed in it. What service it is providing. Is it a web server or a file server? It is purely depends upon what service you install it. But when you install an operating system, that is also we are calling it as a server. Okay, but real it is not. Whether it is providing a service or not, that is different point. Okay, so Linux servers, Unix servers, by installing operating system, it is a server, that's it. Which service it is providing, based on what service you are enabled or installed or configured, that is separate. Next one is, guys, it is hardware based. Okay, so here also, first of all, I came, instead of coming from bottom to top, I came from top to bottom. Look at here. Without a machine, without a hardware, no operating system. Without an operating system, no application, role, or a feature kind of stuff, right? So first is required a hardware. Regular hardware servers means regular machines like a desktop-based machines, not suitable for a server installations. Why? Because server should be run 24 by 7. 24 by 7 server has to run. Server has to run 24 by 7. That much of powerful hardware is required. Continuously it has to run. We can't continuously run our laptop or a desktop, right? You start a laptop or a desktop, you given a backup power supply also. Continuously have to run. We cannot run. Okay, in our regular hardware, because after 3-4 days something will damage in your hardware. But we need a powerful hardware, powerful motherboard, powerful processor, and RAM kind of stuff. Okay, so that is, then we can able to run our server for 24 by 7, means 24 hours continuously we can able to run it. Okay, so we use a Xeon processor instead of i3, i4, i3, i5 kind of stuff. We use a Xeon processor. High length RAM is also like a 32 GB, 16 GB, that kind of RAMs also we are using. Multi-core processors. On motherboard, we have a RAID controllers. We have RAID controllers. SCSI SAS disk connection is there. SCSI, SCSI, SATA SCSIs, kind of stuff we can able to connect it. So different motherboard is there, not from our regular motherboards. Okay, not our regular motherboards, not our regular processors. The motherboard, we can have a certain facility like a RAID controllers, onboard RAID controllers, SCSI, iSCSI disk connectors, okay, like SAS disk connectors, processor like Xeon processors we are using. Okay, this is the hardware related. On top of hardware, we are installing an operating system, that is server operating system like a Windows server, Linux server, Unix server, or any other different servers we are using. Virtualization servers also there. So like a Hyper-V, server, Hyper-V server, or a VMware vSphere, ESXi, or a Citrix Xen servers. These are virtualization server operating system. Or you have a installed server like a Windows server or Linux server. We install some package or an application, okay, or maybe by a built-in role, it become a dedicated server. So by installing a feature or a role or an application or a package, the server become a specific server. Okay. So I started with the starting only because we need a specific server. What is the hardware? What is the operating system? That is a secondary part. But so of course to install certain things like an application or a operating a role or a feature or a package, whatever it is, the name you put it. So we need an operating system to install it. Where you install an operating system on a hardware. Where we install operating system on a hardware. What kind of hardware is required? The hardware specifications also. In my home, for example, I want to install a server, or maybe in my office, means my small office it is. I need a two servers, maybe three servers. So what type of server hardware I will choose? I choose tower server. I choose tower server. Guys, are you getting or confused? Want to build a server? First of all, you have to buy server related hardware. Then you have to install operating system. Then you have to install a role or a feature or a particular application. Then it is become a server, right? But I told in a reverse order. First, you should know what is the servers. Then how to build from top to bottom or bottom to top. I'm telling. Guys, tower servers are look like this one. So I'm going to images. Okay, you can try also. You can put in a Google tower servers. Go to images. You can see the towers. The first line is completely like this is from Dell. This is eagle.in. This is Dell, eagle, Dell. Amazon also there. India Mart it is. Amazon, Flipkart also you can purchase certain tower servers. It is Amazon. Okay. This is basically a tower server, guys. So I want to show you some. Amazon is opening. Dell also no problem. Different servers, different cost. The Lenovo thick system. Okay, so it is look like a normal computer, right? I showed a PC computers and all. It's look like a normal computer. Okay, it is look like a normal computer. See it is. What is the use of this one? See, the processor is E2224G processor. It's a 4-core processor, 3.5 gigahertz. Wattage consumption is 71 watts. One 8 GB RAM is already installed in it. 1 TB of hard disk is installed. Software RAID we can able to configure. So not a hardware RAID. It is a very less cost, very low cost. Okay, that's why it is showing a low cost configurations. So you can see this is it is also 16 GB RAM. This is better. It is having a directly 16 GB RAM is installed in it. Okay, so quad core means again 4-core processor only it is. It is a Dell EMC one. Okay. You have to see the specifications. You can't see the internal configuration. This is the back panel part. Okay. So 58,000 it is showing. For example, I want a server at my home. I want a server in my home. So then I want to build a server. I can choose, this tower servers. Okay, so this is a tower server. You can see internal part of this Dell T550 tower server. It's a 4,56,000 and some change is there. Okay, it is a tower server. It is look like a normal desktop computer, but it is a bigger than desktop computer. And if you see, can you see this something it is showing? That is a iSCSI disk. Directly we can able to insert the iSCSI or a SAS disk. We can able to insert it. This is a internal part of your server. See, you can put a two CPU sockets are there. Okay, and the hard disk we can able to connect hard disk connections and all. You can go to the specifications also. One CPU already there. You wanted two CPUs, then it's a zero upgradations. And something got changed here. Cost is not changing. So then if you select this one, something has to be changed from. Okay, two CPUs you can insert like a Xeon silver processor. 12 core 24H 24T. 12 core processor. 12 cores are there, not 4 core processor. It is 8 core. 12 core processor. 24 threads means 24 logical processor, 18 MB cache memory, 18 MB cache memory, data transmission speed 10.4 giga like this, DDR4 to 2666 at RAM we required. Okay, so this is another one. This is 16 core 32 threads processor. If you want this one, you have to pay extra like this, 24,000 extra rupees. So 16 GB, two 16 GB RAMs are there. So 2 means totally 32 GB. Okay, the cost of 2 is 59,000. You want more or you want single like this, you can get it. Okay, so we don't have any no right for like this. Okay, so RAID is not configured. If you want, you can configure. But we have a C1 configuration. And what are the hard disk is there? 600 MB, 600 GB. Sorry, 600 GB SAS hard disk is there. Hard plug. Okay, you can go through one. What is this? What is this? What is this? You can understand one. This is the network connections. Okay, fiber optical adapters. 16 GB. HBA connectors. If you want, you can select it. You will get it. Okay. This is some GPU related 16 GB GPU. Okay. Memory cards. So much of internal details. Like you want an operating system, server operating system, then you have to pay this much. Want a 2019 standard edition, you have to pay this much. And this is not required to pay anything. It is 00. And no operating system in it. Want operating system, this one, some limited kind of stuff. This is VMware or Red Hat, SUSE, Ubuntu. Which operating system you want it? Okay, so you can select it. Okay, guys. So these are a different type of set of specifications for this specific tower server. What is a tower server? The tower maximum, olden days we have a desktop means it's a flat on the desktop. Like it's not a standing on the desktop. It's not like a standing on the desktop. It is a horizontal way. It is vertical. Earlier we have a horizontal. So because of that horizontals we are calling as a desktops. Later on days we are getting these vertical towers. Okay, these vertical towers. The vertical represent. Okay, it's a tower. Okay, it is a tower. So we are using mid towers or a mini towers. Mid towers or mini towers for our desktops. This is high towers. So bigger in the size. more things we can able to put it inside. Okay, and server hardware has a more facilities than a regular desktop hardware. Guys, this is the tower server, and already I told I want to put a two servers or a three servers or a four servers in my home. I can purchase tower servers. It need a wiring like a power connection, a separate power connection, cable connection, monitoring system, keyboard, mouse, and everything. I put it. Okay, so that is the main tower server. The next one is rack server. This is the rack. You can see one single rack. No, no, okay, so somewhere, yeah, this is the rack. So when we use this rack, it is loading. What is this rack? Yes, rack, one server. Again, one tower, one server, one rack, one server, one blade, one server. Not a multiple blades become one single server. It is not like that. It is a one rack, one server, means it contains a processor, RAM, motherboard, write controllers, SCSI hard disk, everything we can storage related everything it is there. But what is the advantage is we put these racks into a big rack like this. Okay, it is a this kind of big data centers. We can able to put a multiple racks inside. So it reduces the space occupation compared to tower servers. It reduces the lot of disk space occupation, background connections. Okay, background connections, loose wirings. It will reduce. Okay? It is easy to insert and remove from this racks. Okay, so this is one rack, one server kind of stuff. So this is entirely one rack, one server. This is the background of this rack server. So we have same connections, keyboard, mouse, every connection will be. It is not showing what is there inside. Okay. So these are the different specifications. And if you want anything additionally, you have to select. So the cost will be added. So this is what they are providing. Those specifications are there. OpenWay, Hotswap, SAS disk, okay, 32 GB already RDIMM is there. Okay. So we can put up to 3 terabytes of RAM. 3 terabyte of RAM we can able to put it. 24 slots are there inside. 24 slots are there, not 2 slots. Our desktops we have a 2 slots. There's a 24 slots up to 3.0 terabytes of RAM we can able to insert it, and it's a 16 core processor. It's a 16 core processor system. Okay, so this is a HPE something. Cost also it will show somewhere. This is starting cost, I think. This is starting cost. And if you want anything additionally, you have to add it, including operating system or hardware components. So what is the use of this rack? Rack is a one server. We can easily fit into this rack modules, and it is occupation of space is very less. It's a tower server. See how much cabling is required, loose cabling is required like this. But in a tower server, it is fixed one. And if I want to put a 5 servers, 6 servers in my organization, not my home. Okay, so in my organization, so then I can easily build it. So that is like a data center. The last one is, guys, that is a blade server. So what is a blade server? So these are not blade servers, these are all rack servers only. Show you the blade server. Yeah, what he is inserting is a blade server. What he is inserting is a blade server like this. So how much space occupation for a blade server? It's much smaller than a rack. So in a single rack space, one single rack space, you can put a multiple blades. It means more number of blades we can insert in a one single rack space. Okay, so it is occupation is very less, but as compared to tower server and rack server, it occupies small space. Meaning is on server, the dedicated SCSI controllers, storage devices, storage things, that will be reduced. Of course, one blade, one server, but the single blade capacity is compared to the rack server or a tower server is very less. But we need a multiple servers. Just we need a more servers. Okay, multiple servers, high performance servers, or a not high performance, high availability servers you want to configure. The best is high availability, always available, high available, failover cluster kind of stuff you want to configure. So you can configure with the blade servers. All is setting blade kind of stuff only. Okay guys, these are the blade servers. You can try to find what is the difference between tower server, rack server and blade server also. So here something is given. I don't know. So just I copy image. I will use it now. Just a point only. That's it's not like a dedicated real point. It is just for our understanding. You can try, but you can try what is the difference between tower server, rack server, and blade server. Guys, understand up to here what we discuss about peer-to-peer server client, server based on what service it is providing, servers based on what operating system uh, inside, servers based on the type of hardware, the shape of hardware or type of hardware part. Last one is a data center in this row. So after break, I will discuss about a work group and domain. Okay, in this part, so I will tell about a basic 1 or 2 points about a data center, guys. So what we are seeing, these are all data centers only. These are all data centers. You can put it in a Google, like a Google data center. Okay, what is working on is also, it is also a data center. So what is a data center? Okay, so you can see these are all data centers. It's a combination of multiple servers, storage devices, networking components are there. What are there? Servers are there. It contains servers, storage devices, networking like a switches, routers, cables, optical fiber cables, UTP, STP cables. Okay. Um, and for a maintenance purpose, like a cooling systems, software, servers, storages, networking, infrastructure, environment, and cabling, backup power supply, and backup devices also important for a data center. So very simple data center, you can see at least few points are covered. Okay, we have a cooling systems, you have a softwares running in your data center, your servers are running in a data center, you have a storage to store the data, right? That storage in the data center, networking components like a switches, routers, cablings. Okay? So you have to maintain this environment, the temperature, humidity, air, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, oxygen levels you have to maintain. You know, in these data centers, uh, uh, if anything happens, first it will stop the oxygen flow. Why? Any spark is happen, oxygen burns very faster, right? So it stop the oxygen. So if you are stuck at this, if something burning accident is happen, definitely will die. So oxygen level maintenance. Okay, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen. So that is temperature, humidity, okay, maintenance. These are all parts are there. Cabling structures. So that is a main important points I'm trying to say. So that's a diagram which is we can see. Backup power supply. Power supply is there and backup power supply is important. Backup device is also important. We have to take the backup, right? Backup devices, environmental maintenance. This is about your basic data center. So what is the data center monitoring? What is data center monitoring? Monitoring all this kind of infrastructure, monitoring the servers, monitoring the storage devices, monitoring power supplies, your cooling systems, your firewalls, everything, your cables. Just I want a space, that's why I given. But this is a like a example. We can easily catch what is a data center. Data center means whole, contains servers, either it is a blade servers or rack servers, or it can be a tower servers, storages, like a different type of disk, SCSI disk, iSCSI disk, RAID controllers, LVM configurations. So storage, whatever it is a NAS storage, SAN storages, fiber optical connections, switches, routers, UTP, STP cables, okay, and monitors, keyboard, mouse connections, softwares we are deploying an application from it, we are running a web applications from it, right? So that is also a software part. And connectivity, power supply, backup power supply is important. Okay, so environmental monitoring. So you monitor everything. You monitor the servers, you monitor the network, you monitor the storages, you monitor the software performance, you monitor the connectivity, you monitor the physical environment, you monitor the physical security, you monitor the physical security, you monitor the network security. These are all monitoring of a data center. You can try what is a monitoring, data center monitoring, and what are the tools we use for a data center monitoring, importance of data center monitoring. Okay, guys, up to now, okay? Am I told very fast or very slow? I think I went. So that's a point. Okay. So guys, take a break. We come back in a 10 minutes or 15 minutes maximum. So 12 at 12:05 maximum. Okay. 12 o'clock at 12:05 we'll come back. Okay. 12:05. 10 15 minutes. Take a 10 15 minutes break.